This four-wheel drive motorhome completely, for me, replaces my 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a pool. I love this more, so stick around and I'll show you why. Hey everybody, I'm Sherri Joe. I'm your 2-legged friend, and I'm here with my 3-legged friend Casper and my 4-legged friend Cody Cowboy. And together we've been doing solo van life for the last 3.5 years around Australia. Why don't you come on in, I'll show you around. Have you ever considered carrying your entire home on your back like a turtle? I just put the awning out for some shade. Oh my goodness, it's hot today. It's summer in Australia. It's typical, but oh, it's hot. It's only morning, so bear with my sweaty face. So I'll start off with the basics about this motorhome. It is one piece of fiberglass, the body of it, but the real base of it is the Toyota Hilux. So it's built on a Toyota Hilux chassis. It's a 2.8 liter diesel. And I chose this diesel Toyota because of the reliability that many people around Australia raved about. They said, you don't want to go anywhere without a Toyota, so I chose Toyota. I was thinking about choosing the Ford, which was an option. I come from America, and Ford was in our family a lot. So that's what I really wanted. But it turned out that the weight of the Ford was, like the general weight of it, way more than the Toyota. Like that gave me less of a payload. And what a payload means is the difference between the weight of the vehicle and what you can carry before you hit the 3.5 level. So you can see the bull bar. The bull bar is made by a company called ECB in Queensland, Australia. And it's a pretty tough one. I don't know much about bull bars, but the people that see me and they say, oh my gosh, you have an ECB bull bar, they say, oh, that's great. So anyway, that's cool. And then I've got the snorkel for when I go underwater. B, go away. No, go away. So the next thing I want to talk about is upgrades to the body, to the chassis to support the weight of a motorhome on a Toyota Hilux chassis. So my GVM is 3,500 kilograms, 3.5 ton, however you want to say it. What is GVM? So GVM is gross vehicle mass. Gross vehicle mass is what you're allowed to carry based on the suspension in the vehicle in total. That means your body, your fuel, your water, all your food, your clothes, your dog, everything has to be weighed, and it cannot go over 3.5 GVM. I've had myself weighed every year. When I first bought it, a year after I bought it, the second year, and the first 2 years I was under, but that third time I weighed myself just a few months ago, I was over by 100 kilos. That's a big deal because insurance doesn't cover you. If you have a crash, they weigh everything, and if they determine that you are over your weight limit, they will not cover you. And that's a really big thing to consider with a vehicle this expensive. In some countries, your driver's license only allows you, like a standard driver's license, only allows you to drive up to 3,500. You can now, it's only since this year, you can now pay 13,000 Australian dollars to get it upgraded to carry 4.25, if I remember the number correctly. And I've been living in this motorhome for 3 years. I don't mind getting rid of stuff I'm not using because you have to drag it around. You have to pay the fuel to drag it around, whatever you decide to carry. And to me, it's not worth $13,000 to increase my weight limit. But to each their own. Some, not everybody is solo. Quite often it's usually 2 people instead of 1. So double the clothes, you've got double the food or drink preferences, so it might be worth it to other people, but to me it's not worth it. And also keep in mind, I traveled around the world on a motorcycle. I carried minimal stuff, like really minimal. I still had my bed, I still had my house, my tent, my sleeping bag, I still had my office, meaning I carried my laptop computer and the backup hard drives, all that stuff. I had my little cooker, so I had my kitchen. You can travel with a whole lot less. When you're pounding against corrugations, and you're doing that all the time in Australia, consider the amount of weight you're carrying. So that's my bit about the GVM. So this cupboard, or they call it a locker, is where the lithium batteries are stored. One thing that concerned me about these lithium batteries was that you see they're down in a hollow, and it's sort of at the height of the wheelbase. And we've been through deep water that goes up higher than the wheelbase, so my huge fear was that water would get into this locker and drown the batteries, which would have been really, really bad. So they assured me that these rubber seals on the locker doors would keep that from happening, but I just honestly didn't trust it. I had put rubber seals on my panniers when I was traveling by motorbike, and inside those panniers I put everything in waterproof bags and everything still got wet. So I have very little trust in people who tell me things are waterproof, but honestly I tested this on Cape York this year in northern tip of Australia, and it's very, very tropical. There's lots of really bad roads and really deep water crossings, and we made it through just fine. What was in here originally, actually, I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, is my air compressor permanently installed under my bonnet, or in America we would call it a hood. I've got my hose stored in here, so I just attached the hose to the compressor, and the hose is long enough to reach to all my 4 tires. So works out really well and more convenient when you need to lower your tires for sand. They wear jeans, but these are my chocks to level me up when I'm on uneven surfaces. Okay, so those are those lockers. Now I'll take you around and show you the back. So here's where the gas is stored. I've got 2 4.5 kilo LPG gas canisters, and they last me a really, really, really long time. I would say when I'm cooking a lot inside, which would be winter where I cook more than in the summer, I make a lot of tea. I would say that lasts me 3 to 4 months, and then in the summer they last even longer. So what's good about having the 2 is that when one runs out, you just switch it over to the other, and then next time you find yourself at a place where you can refill, we do that. But I'm really happy with the gas. I only use it for my burners on the stove and for the oven. That's it. Everything else is that needs heat, like the diesel heater or the water heater uses diesel. So that lasts a really long time, and it's perfect, and it's foolproof, so love it. And in this locker, it's where I store water hose for fresh water, my power cord, my chair, my little stool, my emergency fuel, all little spare pieces and parts go in there. Nice big space. It goes all the way through to the end there. It's awesome. And these are the Max Tracks. These are very, very popular for helping you get out of sand or mud. And I've used them in sand. I've not used them in mud, but I've had to use them in sand, and they are a lifesaver. Okay, on this side, we've got some really interesting lifestyle features. This is where the cassette or the toilet is, so just open it up, take it out, and dump it when you need. This is to fill the 90-liter fresh water, and this is what I use most. This one is to connect permanently to water. Up here, what I had installed this year is my Starlink 12-volt conversion kit, and that allows me to plug in Starlink without having to run the cord through a window. That was a really big thing that I wanted to do this year, and that's where I hook up to 240-volt power. Isn't it beautiful? Just a couple other things I wanted to mention before we head inside is the solar. I've got solar panels on the roof, and inside you've seen the 2 lithium batteries, so that's going to store the power. There's a DC-DC charger, so it charges while I'm driving the car as well. And lastly, I've got a 2,000-watt inverter. In the winter, like anywhere, you use a lot of lights at night, and not only does it take care of my lights, but charges all my cameras and my laptop. The amount of what they did is perfect for me. I've never run myself below 50% power, and that was living off-grid in Tasmania in the winter when it's nothing but dark cloud and rainy days. So it still charges a little bit, even on a cloudy day. Not as much as a sunny day, but It never went below 50%, and I'm really, really proud of that. Just a couple more things I want to cover while I'm outside. Tires. I love tires, and these are good beefy tires. I just love them. The tires I started off with, I hated. And we all have personal preferences there. When I was traveling around the world on my motorbike, I fell in love with a tire. They were called Heidenau's, and I just love them. Walter put me onto those, and oh my goodness, I could use those through Siberia, through Mongolia, but I could also use them when I went through cities, and they were a hard rubber, and they lasted a really long time, so I got good value from them. So when I went to the tire shop in Australia to change these over, I gave them that criteria. I want a good hard rubber that's beefy, that's going to get me through anything. And I've had these tires on for about 8,000 kilometers now, and I love them. They're perfect. They were perfect for the corrugations, for the sand, for the mud, the deep water I went through on Cape York. And I've also taken the highway down from the Northern Territory to the west coast of Australia, and not an issue. Love them. They're quiet and they're strong. 2 reversing cameras. So as I'm parking a vehicle by myself that you can't see the back very well, it works so that I can look at it myself, and I can tell. I can back this motorhome up to a fence and be within centimeters of the fence line and not touch it. So let's head inside and I'll show you the best part of the inside. Okay, why don't we start with the bedroom? So the bedroom is basically over the nose of the cab of the Toyota Hilux, and it's a double bed. It's so perfect having this fan in the location that it is. And you see I've got 2 windows on each side, so I've got a nice cross breeze and can go without the fan. There's Casper's bed in the corner. I've got a TV, so that TV swivels around to face to the lounge if you want it to, or you can watch it in bed. There's 2 reading lights, and that's where I store my glasses, sunglasses and reading glasses. And my nice Akubra hat, very well Australian Akubra hat, lives here. And next is the bathroom. Things I'd like to show off in the bathroom are the soap, shampoo, and conditioner dispenser. And this tap actually pulls up, and you store it just there, and you can have this height if you want to take a shower with. Again, I don't bother with that. I would just rather leave it low. Cassette toilet. This is a diesel heater outlet. So I'm camping in winter and I turn on the diesel heater, the bathroom gets warmed up as well. And this is my medicine toiletries cabinet. Oh, it's still hot. Job is to show off my kitchen. I love this kitchen. Remember, I'm on 4 wheels. I am not on a big motorhome. I'm on a Toyota Hilux chassis. So all of this space fits. They've been very smart about how they design the layout. So have a look at this. How's this for kitchen space? You got to tell me that that's really, really, really good. I can lay my dishes here to dry, or I can prepare apple pie and bake it in my oven. I love my oven. I love my cooktop. My phone is severely overheating in this heat, so, and I'm sorry, I'm so sweaty. This is the sink. So my sink has both hot and cold water. I only use the cold water. I honestly don't bother with the hot water. Like if I desperately want hot water to wash dishes with, I'll actually boil it in the kettle rather than wait for the diesel heater to heat up the entire tank of water. So I've also got a water filter underneath the sink, so I've got really nice clean drinking water. And I might point out that there's also a water filter on the hose that takes it from the tap of wherever I'm getting water. I got a really high quality one that filters all the water going into the tank, and then it's filtered again when it comes out of the tank and comes into my drinking bottles. And I just like to keep these covers on it just to keep the glass from getting scratched. And next is the cooktop. So there's 3 burners here, and I never use 3 burners. Like I quite literally never use 3 burners, but they're there if I want them. And then if I can show you, we'll get Cody Cowboy's water bowl out of the way. This is the oven, and there's a grill in there as well, so not a bad thing to have when you want to make a nice crispy pizza. And underneath the oven, I store my protein stuff and just bigger kitchen things. Junk drawer, utility drawer. This is the most important thing in the whole drawer. This is my laundry change container. Either takes $1 or $2 coins at the laundromat, so I always keep little bits of change in there. Alright, so lots of drawers. We do pots and pans and a collapsible tea kettle, plates, bowls, cups, cooking, storing things, cutting board, and I've got some food in the house, so this isn't quite full. Not bad, hey? All of that. It's got everything that I need in this space. Now, if I had a big kitchen in a 3-bedroom house, I fill up all the cupboards with so much stuff. And here, I've got my 2 pots, and they are sufficient. I've got my kettle, and it is sufficient. And because I'm about to show you my refrigerator, a full-size fridge, my oven, my cooktop, everything. Like, I can't rave about how much I love this kitchen more than my own at home, because I don't have all that crap. Life is simple, and that means everything to me. Keeping life simple makes me happy. Okay, now I'm going to show you my refrigerator. That is a 150-liter refrigerator. It's mostly fridge. There's a freezer on top, and then that's another refrigerator below. It's just a drawer, more like a chilling refrigerator to keep crisp vegetables and fruits and your drinks really cold. I'll open it up and show it to you. I don't have much in here because I'm house sitting. I've got it in the house, but nice full. I mean, that's a good size freezer, so when I make my big meals, I can put things in containers and freeze them. All those shelves. This is the crisper drawer. Now, for a lot of people, I find they store their beers and white wines in there. I like to put my water bottle in these things because they don't clank around while you're driving. If, like, there's another bottle, which there actually is another bottle in here. I've got a kombucha bottle, and it's glass, and I like drinking water out of glass, and so they clank together. So I put them in like a one of those wine holders. This is my chocolate stash, my favorite chocolate. Don't tell anybody. This is where I keep my utensils that I cook with. I love that they stack like that and save space, and I also love that they are color coded. Love it. This cupboard here is just over the stove, and it's kind of got an odd shape because of the range hood, so I just tend to store camera stuff in there rather than food stuff. Sheets and towels usually go in there. This is my shoe cupboard. I got a special cupboard just for shoes, you see? Plenty of space to have a cupboard just for shoes. This is my wardrobe. It is plenty of space to store winter coats, raincoats, anything hanging that I want to store there. And down below that is more wardrobe space. I've actually got 3 full shelves there. So I've got pants and shirts and socks and underwear. And my sneaky little vacuum cleaner in there. When you live with pets, you know that you've got to vacuum pretty much every day. Yes, definitely every day. This wardrobe is more than sufficient for full-time travel. And what I learned to do, like if I desperately want a new shirt, I can go and buy something new, and the simple way to manage that for weight and storage is if you're getting a new shirt, you got to get rid of a shirt. And I follow that philosophy, and I'm happy with it. I hope you don't mind. I need to take a small break to get a drink of water. It is so hot. I'm gonna have a quick drink of water. Then I'm gonna show you my favorite part of this motorhome, which I promised. He's a happy boy. He really loves this yard. Oh my Lord. It's the end of January. That means February is coming. And in the United States, in Indiana, where I come from, February was always the worst month for winter. Pretty much the same here in the bottom side of the world. February is going to be the hottest month. Now, here we are at my favorite part of this motorhome. Look at the space that I have here. I've got my computer sitting here. I work all day with all of these windows. I've got the skylight. It's so spacious. Cody Cowboy actually sleeps here at night because, you know, the floor is quite thin and small that I don't want to have to walk over him all the time. So it doesn't bother me that he sleeps up on the lounge. And there's more than enough space for him and me, and I've actually had people in here with him and me all using the lounge at the same time, and there's plenty of space. This is my favorite part. This is why I bought this motorhome, because I can sit here and I can look out every direction. I can see everything, and because all of the windows open and they've got bug screens on them, I've got basically a screened-in room. Table is movable, so I can bring it really close to me. Oops. I can bring it really close to me if I want. I can push it out of my way and sit here. Like if I wanted to watch the television, I can sit here like this. It just screws in here to tighten it up, and you obviously want to keep it tight when you're traveling, but when you find your position that you're happy with, just tighten it up. So I'll show you my little lights. Does that show up? Yeah, you can see my little lights. This is really nice at night to have these little lights. So like I'll cook my meal with the brighter lights on, and then when I'm finished cooking, I turn off all the bright lights and I just sit with these little lights on, because it's a really nice soft light and ambiance, they say. Have I told you how much I love my motorhome today? I know I'm like a broken record, but I really love this motorhome. I really love the layout. The layout couldn't be more perfect, and I challenge anybody to come up with anything better than this, given the space that we have to work with. This is the air conditioner. I can only use the air conditioner when it's hooked up to 240 volt, but the vents allow it to go to the front and the back of the motorhome, and when I've used it, it's been fantastic. And I wouldn't mind if I had hooked myself up to 240 volt power today so I could put it on while I was in here, because as you've seen, I'm sweating up a storm. Here's my control panel. So here's where I can tell where my power level is. See, I'm currently at 99.5% power. Refrigerator's running, lights are on, so that's awesome. This is the diesel heater, so if I want to do either the hot air or hot water, I'm gonna power it up here. This is the air conditioner control. This is a beautiful motorhome. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Here's my Australian camping tip. Keep the snake bite kit next to the door. One of the key points for myself and for a lot of other solo female travelers and buy this particular type of motorhome are loving the fact that we can go into our front driving cab without having to go outside. The cab is just through this curtain. Open up the staircase here and you can lift up the bed, which is on 2 struts, and you can go through to the front cab and escape in the middle of the night if you want to. Door, this is a double door, has like a crim safe screen on it, so there's a double door and 2 huge locks they'd have to get through. I think the probably least safe thing about it is the windows. I would say they'd be somewhat easy to break into. I have seen people put bars on their windows for extra security. This is Australia, and there's not a whole lot of bad activity. There's some, like in every country in the whole daggone world, you're gonna get some bad people mixed in, but I've felt mostly safe pretty much everywhere, even in bush camps by myself. So if I do feel a little bit nervous, just like I did on the motorbike, you just use your instinct, and instinct will tell you, like, I shouldn't be here tonight, I'm gonna go. There's so many flies in here. Oh, I left the door open and all the flies came in. So that concludes our tour. We and all of the Australian flies will see you in the next video.